Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. Here we talk about weight, body image, emotional eating, and other personal development topics. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, the CEO and founder of Irresistible University and irresistibleicing.com. Welcome to the first Irresistible You episode of 2019. I am so excited, and I am still a little bit in shock that it's 2019. How crazy is that? And I have been away from life, basically, for the last couple of weeks, almost a month now. And I took a big break for the holiday season. I was out of town visiting family, and I am fully back in the swing of things mentally and physically. That's a little bit what I'm going to talk about today. So I had this entire plan of what I was going to start posting and recording for January. And when I got back from vacation, and I was officially back home full time last week on Monday, I kind of hit a wall, you guys. I thought that stepping away, which was something that I felt like I needed to do because I was getting overwhelmed and a little bit burnt out with everything in life. And I really thought coming back, I was going to feel refreshed. I was going to feel have my fire back and, be really motivated and excited to not only record the podcast, but other things in my business and also my health journey. And I just wasn't feeling it. I was really not feeling it. And last week I was slogging through the entire week because I was in a funk, and it seemed like as the week went on, day by day, it got worse. And I saw myself slipping into that dark place, and the depression and the anxiety was like, hey, come hang out with us. We're the cool guys. Come sit with us. And it was starting to affect me. And I realized that it was happening. I recognized that I was completely self-sabotaging myself, not only with my health journey, but with my business journey. And I say this a lot. I don't know if I've even shared this with you guys before, but there are so many parallels that I see between my health journey and my business journey. And it's really interesting because I'm in this mastermind group with other business owners, and I went in there and said, hey guys, I just have to, I have a confession to make. I'm having a hard time. I totally know that I'm self-sabotaging myself, and I just need the accountability. I don't know that I need you to help me, but I just need accountability. I need someone to hear me, and I'm putting it all out on the table right now. And what was really interesting is when we had that discussion, all of the advice that I was given, it wasn't business advice. It wasn't, hey, try this strategy or do this tip or, create this thing in your business, blah, blah, blah. No, it was completely health and wellness related tips, which hearing it, I already knew this stuff, but I just wasn't doing it. So, a lot of times you know exactly what you need to do, but the place between knowing and doing is this big, big gap. And it feels like you're watching yourself and you're not actually in the moment, in the zone. It's like you're watching yourself in a dream. You're wake up, get off the couch, go do what you need to do, go for a walk. And you're telling yourself this stuff, but you're not actually doing it. So it was really interesting how in the group, a lot of the advice they were giving me was really health and wellness related. And it's actually a lot of the stuff that I tell you guys to do and that I teach. But sometimes, we can't see it for ourselves when we're in there. It's like the saying, you can't read the label if you're inside the jar. Kind of like that, right? So it was off to a rocky start. But the difference for me, and I want to share this with you because this journey of living and creating an irresistible life that we're all on, I say it all the time, it's a journey. And just because I might be further ahead than you in that journey, it doesn't mean that I don't still have detours. And I don't still have these ruts that I fall into. The difference for me now is I have so much self-awareness. So when I'm doing these things, I know that I'm doing them and I can course correct myself quickly, where in the past I had zero self-awareness, right? So that's the difference. And in this podcast episode, I'm going to share with you some of the tips that I do to help myself get out of this rut and get back on my healthy, irresistible you journey. And before I do that, I really want to share this story that happened on Friday because it was absolutely insane that this happened. So Friday, I was at a pretty low point. And I was in the car driving around because that's something that I like to do when I'm, kind of just feeling lost and unsure of things. I just like to get in the car and drive. And that's what I did. So, I was just kind of driving around, listening to music and, trying to clear my head. And while I'm in the car, I was out loud. I was praying to God and saying, hey, I'm not really sure what direction I'm supposed to take, and I really need you to help me make this decision. Please give me a sign so that I know what it is I need to do, where I need to put my focus, where my next move is, because I just don't feel like anything's meant to be right now, and I just feel like I'm so overwhelmed, so lost, so confused, all of the things, and I did that and then I drove around. So here's a little secret about me. When I am feeling kind of down and unmotivated, especially when it comes to business things and success, I like to go drive in the rich, bougie neighborhoods. And it's a little depressing, but at the same time, it motivates me to be like, all right, get your shit together. And I don't know, I do this to myself. It's like a thing that I've done for a very long time. So I was driving around these big, fancy, bougie neighborhoods. And because of that, I decided to go home a different way. And the way that I went home is this like super real country ass road, right? Like, the ones. There's no billboards. There's no, there's nothing around you except for 10-foot deep ditches, fields and farms and horses and cows on both sides of you, and houses sprinkled in between. So that's the picture that I'm painting. That's where I was driving. And I love to drive out in these country roads when I just want to clear my head. I just love it. And this was way after I, was praying and asking I literally asked, I said, I really need you to help me. I need a sign. I need you to give me a sign of what it is I need to do. Well, you guys, this is where I get goosebumps because I'm driving down this, this country road and fields and farms, right? That's all we've got on this road. And I swear to you, all of a sudden I look over on the left-hand side and there's this wooden billboard. A billboard in the country. And the billboard said, this is all it said, well, you asked for a sign, God. Signed, God. And I was like, OMG. I had chills. I was like, did I really just see that? Like, that is so crazy. And at the same time, it's kind of funny because he's like, literally, here's a sign. Like, knock you over the head, here is your sign. At the same time, me being Amy, and Amy is the type of person that questions everything. So I, in my little mind, was like, that's really cool, but that still doesn't answer what direction I'm supposed to take. And I shared this story with my husband later that night, and he's like, are you kidding me? He's like, that answers every question. And as we were talking about it, he's like, it answers all of your questions because that is God's way of telling you that you already know the answer. You have every single thing in your power right now to make your goals and dreams happen. You know exactly what you need to do and how to do it. Now you just need to do it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Because in my heart, I already know what I want. I already know what I need to be doing and how to do it. And it's just a matter of getting out of my own way and making this happen for myself. So this was one of those like I don't want to say life-changing moments, but it kind of was because it really made me realize you are the only person standing in your way. All the other stuff that you think you need to know, it will come to you when it needs to come to you. And I have to say that this helped me to start getting out of my rut. And I really, really realize, and I've known this for a long time, that I'm the only person that stands in my way. And I'm sharing that with you today because if you're on the Irresistible You journey, the only thing that's preventing you from getting to your goals and being where you want to be is you. That's it. It's you. You are the person standing in your own way. And sometimes that is really hard to accept and to recognize and to do something about when you mentally are in a bad place and you're getting in a dark place and depression and anxiety and all those things are creeping in. So it's really hard sometimes, and it's so frustrating when you know what you need to do and you want to do those things, but you just can't seem to get there because you're sitting on the couch and you're wanting to get up, but you can't do it. And it seems so simple, but yet it's so hard. It's like, yeah, just get up and go do it, but it's not that easy. So what I wanted to talk about today as we kick off the new year, and I know I'm not the only person that feels this way and that has been in a rut and a funk, and I know a lot of other people are going through the same thing. So rather than diving right into the content that I wanted to start sharing for January, I wanted to start here because I figured if I'm going through this and I've done a ton of work on myself from a personal development standpoint, and this still happens to me, then I know that lots of you listening are going through the same thing or will at some time go through the same thing. So that said, I just want to share some of my tips that I do when I'm in this place. And the number one thing, it comes back to self-awareness. So tip number one is when you're in a rut, you need to recognize and admit that you're in a rut. And I want you to recognize and admit it without judgment of yourself. So to be able to say to yourself, yep, I'm in a rough place. I know that I'm self-sabotaging. I know that I should be doing XYZ, but right now I just don't have the strength and the energy to do it, and that's okay. But as long as you've admitted and you've recognized it, now you're faced with a choice of what you need to do. And sometimes that admitting piece, maybe you need to tell someone else. Like in my mastermind group, I was like, hey, I know that I have all this work that's due to the group and I'm not doing it because I know I'm self-sabotaging. I know it. And for me, I've recognized that as I get these little chunks of success, whether it's in my weight loss or whether it's in my business, and I'm kind of like getting to that edge of like really putting a dent in something and having a huge success, I somehow self-sabotage. And that's something right now, and I'm, being really vulnerable and sharing this with you, I am actually working on figuring out the why behind that because it's something I've done for a really, really long time. So number one is you need to recognize and admit when you're in a rut, when you're stuck. And admitting it to yourself and or admitting it with another person so they can help hold your hand and hold you accountable to that. So I said that when you admit these things, you want to do it without judgment of yourself. Because just because you admit it to yourself, it doesn't mean immediately you're able to make that choice that we just talked about. So if you feel like you still need to sit in it and have a pity party, then do it. But put a time limit around how long are you going to have a pity party for, right? And put a time limit around it. And last week, I pretty much was like, this week is a wash. Like, there was a lot of things that I did accomplish last week that were like those tedious, like have to get done type things that you really put off for a long time. It was kind of like that. But I was like, you know what? The creative work, the recordings, the blog posts, all that kind of stuff that I love to do in my business, it's not going to happen. Same with my weight loss journey, my health journey. I'm not going to be exercising this week. I'm not eating the way that I know I need to, and I'll get there, but right now I just don't care. And so have yourself a pity party, but put a time limit around it so that I've admitted I'm going through this. Right now I'm not able to get up and do what I need to do, but starting tomorrow, 2 days from now, Monday, whatever that time limit is, give yourself a time limit, right? Tip number 3 is to clear your head. And that's what I did when I went out for that drive. It was time for me to get out of the house and, get in the car and just drive so that I can clear my head. That for me is very therapeutic. It's very soothing. It lets me, get out of my own way and listen to my thoughts. And it's just a really good thing for me. Another way that I like to clear my head is, going out for a walk, taking Chewy and going out for a walk. That's really helpful. Some things also that work, going out with friends or going out with family. But initially, when I'm in that space where I just need to clear my head, I can't do it with other people. I need to be alone and I need solitude and I need to just get away. So whatever that is for you, go sit on the beach, go for a walk, go for a drive, but clear your head so that you can hear these thoughts and you can really start to process what those things are. So this is where I'm saying there's so many parallels between my health journey and my business journey. And I have recognized and I realize that if I am not taking care of me and taking care of my body and doing the things that I know I need to do for my health journey, I will be absolutely useless in any other area of my life because we can't do these things in a bubble. If you're on a weight loss journey, you're not just losing weight in this bubble. The health benefits that come from taking better care of yourself, losing weight if you need to, those things filter into the other areas of your life. And for me personally, if I'm a solopreneur running my own business from home, I can't do that successfully if I'm, sluggish, eating, really fried, fattening foods that make me tired, if I'm not moving my body, because it just makes your overall mental state really sluggish. So my number 4 tip for you is to make a shopping list and a meal plan. And this is especially important coming out of the holiday season and there's a lot of junk that might still be in the house or what have you. So for me, one of the things that I need to do to hit the reset button on everything is to make a meal plan and a shopping list so that I don't have to think about what to eat. I don't have to at 5:00 when it's about time to have dinner, I'm hungry, I'm hangry, and the kid is screaming and everybody's, hangry too. And I don't have to sit there and think about what to eat. And then what happens a lot of times when you're in that mindset is then you go and eat fast food or eat something, that's not healthy. So make a meal plan and a shopping list and get those foods that you need. I call them ammunition. So the foods that I eat on a regular basis that I need to have in the house that prevent me from, binging on carbs and sugar and fast food, I need to have that ammunition in the house so that I don't have to think about it. So whatever that looks like for you, whether that's, shopping at the store, getting your groceries delivered. I know a lot of people do the meal planning services now like Blue Apron and some of those others. So, figure out what that is for you, make a meal plan, make a shopping list, and get those foods in your house or in your job or wherever it is that you need to have them so that you don't have to think about it. Because what you eat and how you take care of your body, it makes a big difference in your mental state. So for me, I do that. I do grocery pickup because your girl does not have time to spend hours or the energy or the patience in a grocery store. I cannot stand it. So figure out what works for you. So that's number 4. Number 5 is to declutter your house and your mind and your digital stuff. So for me, and I know for lots of people, when I see physical clutter, it makes me insane. I cannot stand it because the more stuff that I see around me, I can't think clearly. I can't be creative when I have all of these things that I see. And I think that was part of the thing, is coming back from the road trip and having suitcases all over the house, and the Christmas tree was still up, and all the Christmas decor was still up. All of Catalina's new toys were strewn all over the house, and it's just like, OMG. So go out and declutter your house, whether that means you're going to put stuff in bags to donate or just put things back where they need to go. And this will help to declutter your mind. And another thing, especially for me, because I work online and I'm on a computer all the time, digital clutter can do the same thing. So when your files are all over the place and you've got pictures on, 5 different hard drives or whatever. So declutter your house and do a digital declutter as well, because that makes a huge, huge difference. So that was number 5. Yes? Okay. So number 6 is get your butt up early and do a morning routine. And this is something that I just wasn't able to do the past week, because when you're in a dark place, you just want to sleep. And so I was, not waking up as early as I should have. And because of that, I wasn't doing my morning routine. And when I don't do my morning routine and my day doesn't start the way that I need it to start to have peace, I'm not a happy person. So wake up early and create a morning routine so that you're not this frantic lunatic in the morning who's running late, irritated at everybody, screaming at people in traffic, and then, it sets your day up to fail. But if you can wake up early and have a routine, and your routine can be whatever you want it to be. So for me, it means waking up early enough to get ready, put my makeup on, do my hair, get dressed, take Chewy out, make breakfast, and then I come into the office and I light my lamp and my candles, and I put on my Zen music, and I do my morning, what I call morning meditations, where I journal and I write down what I'm grateful for, and I set my intentions for the day. And that small practice completely changes the direction of my day. Completely. So figure out what works for you, but having this dedicated morning routine will set the intention for the day that you're going to have. So the next tip that I have is to, and I kind of mentioned this already in the morning routine, but girl, do your hair, do your makeup, make yourself look and feel a way that you feel really good and confident about yourself. Something about, like, last week, I didn't even unpack my makeup. I don't even think till the weekend. And for me, like, what? So just putting on makeup changes your state, it changes your mind, it changes your mood. And when I get up and do those things before I even come into the home office and start working, I feel more confident, I feel more motivated, versus rolling out of bed, throwing the hair up in a messy bun, nothing on the face. Like, it just makes you lazy. And putting your makeup on, putting your hair together, it's going to boost your confidence. And I say this because it's not just about vanity. When you look better, you feel better and you do better. So do your hair, do your makeup, put on a cute outfit, whether you work from home or whether you work outside of the home, it doesn't matter. But that is so, so important. So the next tip that I have for you is, I think we're on number 7. Yes, number 8. Oh, wow. Okay. So number 8 is to make a to-do list, right? And this goes back to clearing the mental clutter. So, one thing that stresses me out is when I know there's a gazillion things that have to get done, and I'm in this rut where I don't actually want to do any of them. That makes it really hard because then it becomes super overwhelming because you know you have all these things that you need to do. So, make a to-do list. So this is the thing that I do is I just declutter my entire head and say, what are all the things that you know have to get done, not only for your business, but for your personal life, for the house, all the things. And I just write them all down either in a notebook or I open up a Google Doc and I just dump all of that stuff. And when you're doing this, do not judge how difficult the task is, how long it's going to take, what the deadlines are. Just dump everything on the list. Because then what you do next is you come back through the list and you start to prioritize. All right, what are the things that have like an actual deadline that if I don't do this, there will be a consequence. So let's say like a bill or, something like that. And start putting the dates and the deadlines and what takes priority in that list. And what I do is because, I work from home and my 2-year-old is also here a lot of the times with me, is I prioritize things in my list based on energy levels. So when I know first thing in the morning where that time is just for me, that's when I do my writing. That's when I record my podcast. That's when I, create more content for my courses and things like that. Nap time and morning time because I don't have the distractions. When she's awake and, the day is going and she's busy and we're downstairs, that's when I do what I call low energy tasks, like checking emails, maybe replying to things on social media, things that I can multitask when I have all the other things going on because they don't take a lot of my energy and my brain power. So write down all the things that you need to do. Then put deadlines next to the things that have deadlines and then prioritize the list and prioritize based on your energy levels because that makes a big difference. There's certain things that I will never be able to do past 8 p.m. that are on my list. So think about that. You might say, oh yeah, I'll get to this tonight, but will you? Will you really have the mental energy to do it? So number nine tip on this list is to journal. And it's so funny, like here I am, the author of the Irresistible You Journal on Amazon. I've created this amazing tool for you. And then I find myself in this funk and I'm not doing the things that I preach. And meanwhile, I knew I wasn't doing those things. I was making a decision not to do any of the things that I know will help me get out of my funk. So my number 9 tip to you is to journal. And to write down. This is not the same as a to-do list. This is writing down your thoughts, writing down your intentions, writing down what you accomplished today, right? And so that's something that I revisited this week and that I'm doing again is like writing down my successes for the week. And I'm actually using the Irresistible You journal to do a lot of that because in the journal, I list out the 5 guiding principles of an irresistible life. And when I am doing those 5 things in alignment, I don't fall into a rut. I don't fall into this dark place. And that's a constant reminder that I have to keep working at those things. And, you can do that the same. So number 9 is to journal. And even if you don't have the Irresistible You journal, use a notebook, use a piece of paper, use a Google Doc, use whatever to just get those thoughts out of your brain and to also focus on the positive stuff that's happening and not just the pity party, woe is me stuff, right? So, so let's just go through those again. So number 1 is to get out of a rut, recognize and admit that you're in the rut. Number 2 is to have a pity party, but you better put a time limit on that pity party. Number 3 is to go clear your head. Number 4 is to declutter your house. Number 5 is make a meal plan and a shopping list and get that ammunition you need in your house for you to eat. Number 6 is wake up early and have a morning routine to start your day. Number 7 is girl, please do your makeup and your hair. Number 8 is create a to-do list so that you can prioritize and brain dump everything that's causing you to not be able to focus. Number 9 is to journal. Journal your successes, your inner thoughts, all the things that are racing through your head so that you can get it out. That's a way to declutter your mind. And those are my top tips for you when you are in a rut and you just feel like you can't get things started, even though you probably know exactly what you need to do. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode as a way to kick off the new year. And if you did, I would love if you could go over and leave a rating and review on iTunes or the podcast app of your choice that you're listening to this with. And also, I will put all of the notes or all the links into the show notes that I talked about here. So there will be a coordinating blog post that goes into more detail. There'll be a link to the Irresistible You journal. And something else I want to encourage you to get, if you don't have it already, is my free 5-step action plan. It's a downloadable PDF that you can print, or you can actually fill it out online and save it to your hard drive or your phone. And it has the 5 steps that I talk about to create an irresistible life. Those 5 things that need to be in alignment so that you don't fall into these ruts. Or when you do fall into the rut, you can get out of it quicker than you could before. So I'm going to link that up in the notes as well. So if you don't have that, make sure you get a copy of it. And thank you so much for joining me. I will be back next week with another episode. And until then, stay irresistible.